Hello everyone, welcome to the video series on Central Drug Inspector Exam Guidance. Now, before preparing for any examination, we need to understand the syllabus and we need to know to what extent it has to be covered. To know all these things, you need to analyze the previous exam papers. That will give you a knowledge about how the questions are being asked. So in this video, I will explain one of the previously given question and then explain the answer. Then you will understand the level of the questions and everything. Look at the question first. See, levodopa is usually given with carbidopa for the treatment of Parkinson disease because options given are it crosses the blood-brain barrier, A. B. It inhibits monoamine oxidase A. C. It inhibits monoamine oxidase B. D. It inhibits dopa decarboxylase. Now let us understand the question first. See, the question is about Parkinson disease treatment. Now, in Parkinson disease treatment, levodopa is given, but along with that, carbidopa is given. Now, what happens in Parkinson's disease? It is a progressive neurodegenerative disease. That means as people age, the disease progresses. That's why it is called as progressive. Neurodegenerative means nigrostriatal pathway neurons are getting degenerated, hence it is called as neurodegenerative disease. Now at that pathway, the neurotransmitter is dopamine. So because neurons are degenerating, dopamine levels will come down. Now this pathway is responsible for the movement of human beings. So in a sense, the disease will affect, it is a kind of movement disorder. Like resting tremors, bradycardia, decreased muscle movements will be there. Now to treat this disease, what is the problem? In the brain at that pathway, dopamine levels are going down. So if you increase the dopamine levels, you can treat the disease. So how can we treat this? If we give directly dopamine, what happens is dopamine, when you see the structure, it has got a catechol moiety and at the side chain it has got an amine moiety is there. Amine is polar in nature. Because of the polar nature of the drug, it cannot cross blood-brain barrier. Blood is covered with blood-brain barrier which acts as a barrier for all the polar drugs. Only non-polar or certain lipophilic drugs get inside the blood, inside the brain. So dopamine cannot cross blood-brain barrier, so you cannot give dopamine. What is the alternative? So you can give dopa, which is an isomeric form of levodopa is given. Levodopa means DOPA means dihydroxyphenylalanine. Now see, dopa is an amino acid. Two hydroxy groups, a phenyl group is there and alanine is there. Now this alanine is a amino acid. Now see, in amino acid you have amine and carboxylic acid group are there. It is even more polar than dopamine. But it can cross blood-brain barrier. The reason is in the blood-brain barrier there are certain amino acid carriers are there. So because levodopa is an amino acid, it is carried into the brain through that amino acid carriers. So this is how levodopa can be used as a treatment. But again, what is the problem is, if you take levodopa as an oral dose, it gets into the body. In peripheral system, before reaching the brain, with the help of the enzyme dopa decarboxylase, it is converted to dopamine. Look at the structure. The difference between dopa and dopamine is dopa is an amino acid. Dopamine is just an amine. The carboxylic acid is removed with an enzyme called as dopa decarboxylase. If that enzyme acts in peripheral tissue, levodopa is converted to dopamine, and again dopamine cannot cross blood-brain barrier. To avoid this problem in the peripheral tissue, you need to block the enzyme effect dopa decarboxylase, and this is possible with the help of carbidopa drug. Now look at the carbidopa drug. So when you see the carbidopa, it is a structural analog of levodopa. The difference is at the alpha carbon you have a methyl substitution and amine is converted into hydrazine moiety. Because of this structural similarity, it goes and binds with dopa decarboxylase and inhibits the effect of decarboxylase. So what happens is, when levodopa is given, it is peripherally converted to dopamine and it cannot cross blood-brain barrier. When levodopa is given along with carbidopa, carbidopa inhibits dopa decarboxylase enzyme and levodopa can cross blood-brain barrier, gets into the brain. Inside the brain, levodopa is again converted to dopamine. So dopamine levels are increased and you can treat Parkinson's disease. So for this question, what is the answer? Option D. It inhibits dopa decarboxylase. The question asks, why are you using carbidopa along with levodopa? The reason is carbidopa inhibits dopa decarboxylase in the peripheral system. I hope this is useful. All the best.